Imagine this walking into a dusty county auction hall. The smell of old wood, rows of empty chairs, a handful of people, flipping through papers, waiting for deals that might never come. Now picture this, you toss in a single coin, just 25 cents. Not even enough to buy a candy bar today. And then, almost as a joke, the auctioneer slams his gavel. Congratulations, you now own a cabin. Most people would laugh it off. A quarter for a house? That's not real. But this story is real. And that one coin would become the spark of a $10 million storm. A storm fueled by power, greed, and one of the most controversial forces in American communities, the HOA, the Homeowners Association. Welcome to HOA Curb Chronicle. Asterisk, the cabin itself wasn't special. In fact, it was the opposite of special. It had sat abandoned for years. The roof sagged under rainwater. The porch creaked, half rotted away. Weeds choked the path to the front door. Windows were cracked. Nobody wanted it. So how did it end up at auction? Simple. Property taxes. When an owner doesn't pay, the county steps in. They wait. They send notices. But if the taxes remain unpaid, the county reclaims the property and puts it up for public sale. Most of the time, these auctions attract investors, people hunting bargains. But this cabin slipped through the cracks. On the day of the sale, there were no serious bidders. No real competition. One man, maybe curious, maybe joking, raised his hand and offered a single bid, 25 cents. And just like that, with no one else willing to challenge him, the cabin became his. At the time, it was nothing more than a funny story. Something to brag about over dinner. Hey, I bought a house for a quarter. But nobody, not even the new owner, could predict what was about to happen next. Asterisk. Fast forward 1 year. The county began to change. Developers moved in. Roads were widened and repaved. Utilities expanded, water, power, and internet. New homes, new businesses, new energy. What was once forgotten land was now prime real estate. That little cabin, the one bought for a single coin, it sat right in the middle of a booming market. Real estate values soared. Empty lots that had been ignored for decades were suddenly worth millions. And the cabin's land? Valued at more than $10 million. From a joke purchase to a jackpot. But as any homeowner knows, big money attracts big attention. And this attention came in the form of an HOA, a homeowners association that claimed the cabin was inside its community. And that's when the miracle turned into a nightmare. Asterisk. So what exactly is an HOA? For those who don't live under one, here's the quick version. HOAs are neighborhood organizations created to enforce community rules. They decide everything from what color your house can be painted, to how tall your grass can grow, to what kind of mailbox you're allowed to use. At their best, HOAs protect property values. At their worst, they become mini-governments with power to fine, to lien, and sometimes even to foreclose. The HOA near the cabin was one of the strict ones. And when they learned the cabin's land had exploded in value, they claimed it as part of their community. Letters started arriving. The cabin was within their mapped boundaries. The owner owed years of back dues. The cabin had to comply with architectural and property rules. To the owner, it felt insane. He had bought this cabin at a government auction. His deed said nothing about an HOA. He never signed their contracts. But the HOA didn't care. To them, this wasn't just about rules. It was about money. Millions of dollars were now at stake. And they weren't going to back down. Asterisk. HOAs have tools most people don't understand until it's too late. They can fine homeowners hundreds of dollars a day. They can put liens on properties, blocking you from selling. And under certain conditions, they can even foreclose, taking your home. The cabin's new owner was suddenly drowning in threats. The HOA demanded thousands in so-called unpaid fees. They warned him, pay up or lose everything. For the owner, it was a gut punch. Imagine buying a cabin for a quarter, watching it grow into a $10 million treasure, and then being told a group of neighbors could take it away. But he wasn't backing down. He knew the law was on his side, and so he fought back. The HOA escalated further. Notices were filed. Lawyers got involved. And soon, The fight moved from letters and threats to the courtroom. Asterisk. Asterisk. Inside the courtroom, the HOA came ready. Their argument was simple. The cabin was inside their mapped boundaries. Therefore, it was subject to their rules, and the owner owed them money. The homeowner's defense was equally clear. He bought the property legally at a government auction. His deed contained no HOA restrictions. He never signed or agreed to their covenants. The case became bigger than just one cabin. It raised a fundamental question. Can an HOA claim authority over land when the owner never agreed to join? For months, lawyers battled. Documents were examined. Survey maps were scrutinized. Experts weighed in. The community watched closely, knowing the outcome could set a precedent for everyone. Asterisk. Asterisk. Finally, the judge delivered the verdict. The HOA's claim was denied. The ruling was crystal clear. HOAs only have authority over properties that are legally tied into their covenants and deeds. The cabin wasn't. The deed was clean. The homeowner's purchase was legal, binding, and free of HOA control. With one stroke of a gavel, the quarter gamble was safe and worth $10 million. It was a rare case where the little guy won. One man, standing alone, defeating a powerful association that tried to take everything. Asterisk. Asterisk. The ruling sent shockwaves through the community. Neighbors began questioning what power their HOA really had. Legal experts pointed to this case as proof that HOAs often push beyond their limits. And the owner? He became a symbol of resistance, the man who turned a coin into a fortune and defended it against all odds. Asterisk. Asterisk. So what can we learn from this? Always know whether an HOA has jurisdiction before you buy. Remember, HOAs may seem powerful, but their reach has limits. And when money's on the line, they'll push as far as they can, sometimes too far. This was the story of a 25-cent miracle that turned into a $10 million battle and ended in victory. Thanks for watching HOA Curb Chronicles. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more real HOA dramas, shocking disputes, and lessons every homeowner should know. Because in HOA communities, the truth is often STR.